That's how I approach filmmaking. Just give them what they want.
Just give them what they want. All right, Valdo's going to give you guys what you want right here.
I'm giving you guys what you want.
All right, we're about
what you need.
What you need.
I know what you need and what you want. And I'm gonna
All right,
to
so we're about to talk about Whiplash
you.
with me and Valdo on this thing that we do occasionally.
We still don't have a name for it. What do we call this?
I don't know.
We'll come up with it.
We have Zan in the room as well. He's my cousin.
He's sitting here just listening. If he wants to interject and make a funny comment every now and then, he's totally welcome to.
Not.
If he wants to.
If he wants to.
If he's
you
willing
don't want to.
If he's willing to talk over me, yes.
Honestly, with the two of us in one room, it's hard to slip in a word.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? How many people do you think listening to this think we're just crazy? And actually, there's no one else in the room.
Just so you know, there's one person in the room who shares your opinion. Just there, he's right here.
Mm-hmm. Make
what,
at least
what
some
do you call
noise.
this? What are we calling this in? Do you know? Like, do you have a name for us? Do you have
any suggestions of where we could take this name?
Anything. Probably better than what we've thought of, which is nothing.
Two guys in a room.
Two guys, one room.
Oh God.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh man. It brings up interesting thoughts. Anyway,
beautiful memories.
So we're going to be talking about today. Whiplash.
Next movie, Whiplash.
All right, I'm gonna just turn down the mic because we're about to go off on this. Just letting you guys know, it's about
There's
to go down.
There's some strong opinions on this movie. And strong opinions about characters in particular. I think. I don't know yet. Why don't we start off with the plot of Whiplash?
You want? I'll give you guys the rundown
on the plot.
So the plot. This film stars Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. If you guys don't know who that is, J. Jonah Jameson. In the original Spider-Man, and also in Juno. He's the dad. You know, the grumpy bald dude.
I've seen him in Allstate commercials. He sells car insurance now. He was also
he's all over the place.
He was also in Portal 2 for all you video game losers out
Portal
there.
Portal 2, yep.
Yeah, nerds sitting at home all day playing video games. I'm sitting at home all day watching movies. Fuck you guys.
That makes him so much better than you.
Oh yeah,
apparently.
Yeah, it does.
So it stars Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. Miles Teller was in Divergent. Yeah, that's for all.
He was also in the remake of Footloose.
Oh yeah, totally. I remember. Totally forgot that he was in that. That totally makes sense. He was also in
The Way Way. Was it The Way Way? No, it wasn't The Way Way Back. It was
with Shailene Woodley.
That really.
Oh god! I remember the poster. It's green.
It's the indiest of indie films, but it's so forgettable. What was it?
Summer. Something with the title Summer in it.
No wait.
Anyway, so while Valdo looks that up,
I will look that up.
No. It's kind of in that vein though. But basically,
except let me clarify. 500 Days of Summer was exciting to watch.
I didn't
put that out there.
I didn't see this.
Spectacular Now.
That's right. Spectacular Now.
Jeez, that was going to drive me insane. Anyway, so to get back on topic, we got to go back to Whiplash.
Whiplash. Miles Teller stars as a contemporary...
Andrew Neiman is the character.
Andrew Neiman stars as Andrew Neiman, who is a contemporary jazz drummer at a conservatory academy called Schaefer, which I don't know if is real or not. I'm not big into music academies. But he goes to this place called Schaefer, and it's intense. It's intense, and you can tell right away he really cares about his drumming.
Drive.
He's got a lot of drive and ambition, and he wants to be a good drummer at this school, and he wants this teacher, this elusive, like, kind of, almost like a headmaster, like, head teacher, J.K. Simmons.
They do a really good job of making him mysterious as all fuck.
Yeah, he's really mysterious, and, like, you want, like, you can tell Miles Teller, like, really wants to succeed and really wants him to like him.
Yeah.
Really badly.
Really wants to impress the teacher.
And just, in general, he wants to excel, and
he wants to be. He literally tells.
He wants to be the best.
He wants to be the greatest.
He doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be great. He wants to be one of the greats. There's a very big difference between those two, because he's already a great drummer, but he wants to be one of the greats. and
He
and
will-
eventually he gets
and
he gets an opportunity. He gets into the big jazz club or whatever, the big jazz band who is being taught by J.K. Simmons. He gets his shot and
he gets in. And all of everything that comes along with getting into his class, which is quite a bit of emotional, just abuse, would you say? Or would you say...
J.K. Simmons
Would you say very extreme teaching? Would you call it extreme teaching? Is this a new form? I don't know.
You can tiptoe the line between the two, but basically he gets on the drums and J.K. Simmons is not happy with how he's playing.
And he lets him know. In fact, he also, before he does this, you have to remember, he gains his trust.
Yeah,
and asks
like,
personal
hey,
questions.
how's it going?
Just so when he's insulting him, he can insult him with the proper information and data.
So basically, J.K. Simmons
has gotten
is so ruthless about like pushing this character that it drives Andrew to some crazy. He
do some really crazy things.
He's like he cares, and it doesn't take much because you can feel that Andrew's drive is so deep behind
this is
J.K. And J.K. Simmons.
This is the story that I wish Dead Poet Society would be.
Oh, I haven't seen Dead Poet Society.
Well, did you see Lean on Me?
No.
Did you see any of those movies where a teacher tries to, like, bring a class together, except he does it with kindness and, like, being, like, a little bit forceful? You know what? This is a real good contrast.
Like Freedom Writers?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I wanted to see Freedom Writers who was the guy in Freedom Writers?
Is Hilary Swank, the chick teacher.
Okay, well, she should have been replaced with J.K. Simmons because he would have gotten shit done. This guy is... He really skirts that line between making you question, is he pushing this kid, or does he hate this kid? Or does he want this kid to kill himself? Like,
Just all the people. It's not even just the kid. I mean, at first, because Andrew's the new kid in this class, like, at first you think it's just him, but, like, he pushes all of these students super hard.
Now, there is one thing that I did want to talk about. This might be getting a little bit too soon, but we never do see him acting like that big of a dick to... Oh, actually, you know what? We do. Never mind. We do. Never mind. No, I take that back. I take that back. He does do it to other kids. It was very weird how he... I don't know.
How he chose
Yeah.
his... Because it was a very hot and cold thing. J.K. Simmons wasn't always on, like... That was the scariest thing about it. Because 1 second he'd be like, "Oh, good job. Yes, all right, let's." All right. You guys all ready? All right.
Like a proper abusive boyfriend, he knew to gain your trust before he punched you right in the face.
And so, yeah, exactly. Gained your trust, and then you never knew when he was going to strike. And when he strikes hard.
Every time, see, if there's one thing about this movie that I loved, every time he does strike, it was always worse than what I thought it was going to be.
It was always worse, and you
keep thinking he's going to change.
You think he's better.
I was totally an abused girlfriend watching this movie. I kept, no, I'll come back to him. No, he's okay. He bought me flowers, He told me he really liked my hair. He won't hit me again. I know he won't.
But what did this movie result in? What did you think of this movie, Valdo?
This movie put me through a lot of weird emotions. I'm very mixed on this movie. I think this movie is, on one level, I think it's genius. On another level, I think it's very derivative. On one level, I think this movie is innovative, and on another level, I don't know. I'm very mixed on. And you know what? We saw this movie a while ago. I'm still not sure what I thought about this movie. I think I need to see it again. But for one thing, I will say this. The movie I thought it was intense. I thought it was smart. I thought it was at least trying something I'd never seen before. And I did think there was a lot of heart in this movie. You can tell that the guy who made this movie really knew about
the jazz world.
He knew what he was talking about. And the whole thing as a package, I really love, but there are little things about this movie that kind of got on me. For one, I think
before you say, like, I want to hear this, but I have to say, it was kind of the opposite effect. I remember when we left the theater, you were pretty excited about it because just that kind of post movie euphoria of like at least a good movie or a movie that makes you think. And I remember like liking it, and then like I was like listening to you talk, but then it hit me maybe like an hour later, and it hit me like a train, and like just a feeling of just how much I actually liked the movie.
Yeah.
For me personally, like I loved the movie, and I think it's possibly because of my own kind of connection with the character and kind of that kind of world that he was in, and that kind of obsessive, like, because I've been in like competitive environments before, and I understood where
you understand the drive.
The drive of it, and the drive of the character, and how it's kind of like that saying of like, you know, me and the it's a saying, me and the other guy are gonna get on a treadmill, and either I'm gonna die or he's gonna stop running first.
Pretty much. I've never heard that before, but yeah, that's very apt.
And so for me, before you get into your criticism, and I definitely want to talk about it because I mean I'm probably
I wouldn't even say
blind
they're
to
criticisms. I would just say that it's almost like comments on the movie. So
let's hear it.
Okay, so first I want to get what I think is great out of the way. Number one, I thought the acting in the movie was amazing. I love the acting.
Miles Teller is and he's definitely something to look at going forward.
He's proving himself to be a really good actor.
Very versatile.
Yeah, and an actor that I can't really compare to anybody else. He's very unique in his own. He's kind of he's an every guy. But he's a young every guy, and he's a young every guy with a lot of fucking talent. So I really loved him in the movie, and okay, he had to have been really doing that drumming. Yeah, no,
they definitely like. Yeah. There's a couple. I read an interview. There's a couple inserts, but his drumming, he had to do it, and he practiced like ridiculously going up to it, and like practiced so much that like his hands would bleed. And it showed in the movie because there are times in the movies where his hands would bleed because they were drumming so hard.
Blood on the drum kits. There was literally blood on the drum
and sweat, and it was that movie was so much blood and sweat.
Yes, just so much blood and sweat in that movie. There's a lot. You know what? I will say this: every time you look at him playing, oh my god, you get tired. You get tired just looking at him. He's so sweaty and just like going at it, and he keeps going. He looks exhausted.
It pumps you up because he's getting pumped up, but you're
for a movie,
how does he keep going?
For a movie where there is like no fight scene, there is no action scene per se. There's like nothing. Your heart, Like is it the drumming? Is it the music? Is it the way it's filmed? It's all of the above.
I can promise you, even if you only kind of like this movie, you'll at least leave with your hearts thumping.
Yeah, nobody leaves the theater like in any way like tired.
Yeah,
you will be exhausted by the end of the movie.
It is crazy. So what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the acting I loved. I have to comment.
You could tell it was lower budget.
It was very lower budgeted. It was a low budget movie, but
still fantastically put together.
Yeah, they put so much into it. Was the thing. If I have, I noticed it. Not, you know what? I'll label this under the comment section. Not a complaint, not a pro, but a comment section.
That's what we say at Regal when somebody has a complaint.
The cinematography is the exact same style as Social Network, and I couldn't help but notice that the entire time. From the lighting, the way they shot the camera, the skin tones, I don't know.
Might also be just the fact of shooting on a red.
Yeah, shooting on a red, they were all shot with all reds, and even some of the angles I felt like they were at least mimicking it in a sort of way, because it was very plain, it was a lot of leading lines, a lot of really good lighting, I thought. But then the font was the exact same font they used in the Social Network, so it wasn't a complaint, but it was just like, and I don't think anybody really owns a specific cinematography style. I wouldn't say anybody owns a single style.
It just kind of gives you that Fincher vibe.
It did give me a Fincher vibe, and it wasn't bad, wasn't good, but I did notice it, and it was a little bit odd for me. It was just noticeable throughout the movie. I kept noticing throughout the movie. I kept going, wow, this guy's really into Fincher. So I think maybe maybe if he had a different cinematographer, I wouldn't keep noticing it. But as it stands now, it's not really a complaint.
Maybe the cinematographer. I don't know. Maybe the cinematographer
maybe he's the
has
exact
worked for a Fincher film. We don't know.
Maybe he was a he was a second unit cameraman and just like, oh man, no, I got this covered. Dude, don't even worry, I learned it. Let me see who did the cinematography for this. I'm curious.
So, as far as rating goes...
Oh, do you want to give a rating? Because I have a lot more that I need to talk about.
Oh, you got... Okay.
Now, the question comes up with whether or not... J.K. Simmons' character is just so infuriating throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like at the end of the movie, the film wanted you to get a sense that he was a teacher. And that in the end, the way he drove...
I definitely feel
the way he drove Miles Teller
was a good thing.
As if it was a positive.
Yeah.
If that is the case, while this movie is amazing, I strongly disagree with the message of the movie if that's the case. I really don't like that idea where somebody needs to be browbeaten and pushed in that way. Now, it's a weird complaint, I know. I don't know if it's going to even knock my rating down a little bit, but see, this movie, I can still see the good in this movie. I can still see how well it was made, how beautifully it was made, how
just the final message.
Yeah, how much art was put into it and how much care was put into it, but that message, if that is the case, I really disagree with that, and I mean, like, firmly.
And
so,
the
question comes, can I recommend this movie?
Can you recommend? For me, the message that you're talking about at the end, I'd say that it's definitely there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not overtly there. Like
It's
that's
not
like the main.
That is not the main. That's not the main message of the movie.
It's not. It's definitely not the main message of the movie.
But that was an aspect of the movie that bothered me when I left. Oddly enough.
It's hard for me because I'm part of me is torn because of how much I liked the movie and how much I don't. But I do know what you're saying. But I think personally that it's still, I don't know, it still kind of holds up.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
You know what I do? The more I think about it, the more I talk about it, the more I think it does still hold up. And I think, message aside, I think an audience member would be smart enough to make their own decision about that in the end.
They definitely leave
you to make a decision. I just noticed it. And if I was, you know what, I'll put it this way. You can come out with your own decision. I stand on the side of, I hated that guy. And I hope he got the lawsuit to end all lawsuits. And I hope he rots away in prison. Because I fucking hated that guy. But anyway.
And I stood on the side of,
but I could talk
I hated that guy, but he had a moment of redemption at the end.
He did. He did in a way.
A moment.
He had a
moment.
Whether that redeems him all the way.
I'm not saying it redeems everything that he did, but there is a moment of redemption.
I will agree with that. So, another thing that I want to talk about. I bought the soundtrack the night that the moment I got home.
Soundtrack.
I own the soundtrack. The soundtrack to this movie kicks ass. It's weird how the movie can do that, where the movie is just showing people playing music and you're on edge. You are there with them. You're like, oh man, I'm playing the music with them. You're like dodging and shit.
Oh man.
I felt
don't mess up, please don't mess up.
Yeah, oh gosh. That was another thing. There was also the added bonus of you never knew when a cymbal was going to get thrown on his head or something.
Just the whole time you're like, me, a non-musical person, I'm like, is he messing up?
See, we didn't, and that's another thing. I need to ask somebody who is into drumming. Like, let's ask Justin Moore to see the movie and see, was he really off tempo? Was he really rushing it, or was he fine?
Is, he's like there's a part where J.K. Simon, very very early on, when he shows his anger that he's getting mad about the tempo, and this jazz conservatory, like fantastic drummers, like I don't know, and so would anyone know, except for the top tier of people, you know what I mean? He's a fantastic drummer, and he doesn't know that he's off tempo, you know? So I feel it's such a specific tempo.
That's...
it's so specific.
Okay, well, to be honest, I thought in those scenes, J.K. Simmons kept changing the tempo in his head. just so he could beat some ass, just so he could come that night, you know,
just so he could freaking. Anyway,
yeah,
we don't want to.
We don't want to go back into that tangent, but there was one more thing I wanted to talk about.
The music definitely kicked ass, and the way that I enjoyed, just as an editor side note, the way they cut it together.
Yes,
during the
editing, during
the music, it was very. It got me into it, and I'm a big fan of that style of editing.
Another thing that I really liked about the movie was it does a lot of showing, not telling. It's very good cinematic storytelling.
Very good.
They don't really. They never say. They never have like that conversation where he walks by and they go, "Oh, him, he's the head of the conservatory. He's the best in the class." You just know.
Yeah.
You just like know from looking at him, the way he talks to other people.
Yeah, the way the main character looks at him,
the way the characters like interact with him. They had very good cinematic storytelling. It's like
fantastic. Now that I'm like thinking about it, that's a very good point. And there's only really like it gets really old when you sit down talking at movies. You know the sit down two talking heads in a movie.
Yeah,
and there's only really like one or two scenes.
It's mainly drumming in the movie. Yeah,
mainly drumming and just intense scenes.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize that the movie's really intense for a movie that's about drumming.
If you have a heart murmur of some sort, do not go see this movie.
You will not stand through it. You will not make it. You won't make it through the first reel.
You might make it through the second reel, but then that's about where things will end for you.
Yeah, you will make it through the first 2 minutes.
It's funny because there's a part where you think like it cuts to black, and I was like, oh, they're not ending it here. Please God, no. And they didn't. Like they could have. The thing is, they could have ended.
Okay, you have to tell me what part that was because then I want to hear it. Okay, so
because there was a part that they faded to black, and I was like, oh, please God, no. Because they faded black, and I was like, no.
Don't end it here.
Like, this movie is good, and you could totally end it.
You're right near the touchdown zone. You're so close. Just come on, don't fumble. Don't fumble the ball.
Exactly. And luckily, it was maybe it was because of my anxiety, but it felt like a really long black.
It was. You know what? Now that I think about it, I remember a really long fade to black in that movie.
And I was just like, and then it came back up, and it just brought it home.
Yeah.
It went from a good movie to an amazing movie. For my particular opinion.
What would you give it?
So ratings. Oh man. Oh gosh. Do you want to go first while I think of mine? It's okay. A hard decision.
It's a hard decision, but I give this a silver drum kit.
Silver drum kit.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's like a similar. We had another rating that was similar to that.
Similar to that.
It's like one step. Yeah.
But this is one step below.
One step below. Oh, what am I?
Not a golden drum set. But honestly enough, oddly enough, I would recommend this to a lot of people. I've already found myself recommending this movie to people.
I recommend.
Regardless of my own opinion, I want to know how they feel about it.
It was funny. My parents yesterday they were like, "So, we're gonna see a movie soon. Which we were talking about seeing Birdman." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you guys see Birdman. It's really good. I think you guys would really like it." And then they're like, "Oh, and the other one we were talking about seeing was Whiplash." And I was like, "Go see Whiplash!"
Just
stop
you right there.
That's my recommendation. I think that's my rating for Whiplash is go see Whiplash. That's my rating. And I'm holding up touchdown sign. If you can't see me.
That doesn't really translate well over audio, but
I'm holding them up still.
Maybe they can feel it, like the energy and spirit.
Just listen to my touchdown hands being
reach
held
into
up.
your pants, see if there's a little tingle. If there is, you're feeling it. That's Spencer's touchdown.
They're still up.
Get it? Spencer's touchdown.
Okay.